Good afternoon and welcome to the September 2nd virtual meeting of Chatham's Historic Business District Commission. My name is Daniel Silver. We hope that this meeting will unfold as follows. As soon as Sarah Clark, the Central Permitting Coordinator, reads the Governor's directive concerning these meetings, we'll have a roll call. After that, our first order of business will be the minutes, and as soon as those are approved, we'll go on to the applications. And when our clerk reads your application number, we ask that you speak up and identify yourself and do a small presentation of your proposed projects. We will also do votes through roll call. So as I said, the first order of business will be Sarah Clark reading the directives, the Governor's directive, concerning the meetings. Sarah?
Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording this meeting, please notify the chairman. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A-18, and the Governor's March 23, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Historic Business District Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 508-945-4410, conference ID 304-184-978#. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access, and we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible.
Thank you, Sarah. As I say, we'll now have a roll call to see which members are present. And we'll start with our Vice Chair, Darcy Sequin. Are you here, Darcy? All right. How about Sam Strivett, our clerk? Are you here, Sam?
Dan, both Darcy and Sam are here. They just have to unmute themselves to be able to say so.
Darcy's here.
Okay. Sam, you're there?
Yes.
Okay. And then we have regular member, Robert Burns. Bob?
Here.
Okay, then we have our first alternate, Doug Grattan. Are you here, Doug?
Doug is not here at the moment, but will be joining us shortly.
Very good. And then we have our second alternate, Steve Du Bois. Are you here, Steve?
Steve is here, yes.
Very good. All right. Our first order of business will be the minutes, and once those are approved, we'll move right on to the application. And those minutes are of August 19th, I believe. So do the members who are present have any comments on the minutes?
I have no questions.
Sam, is that you?
Yes, Sam Stryber, no questions.
All right. Darcy?
I was absent, Dan, so I can't make any comments.
All righty. Bob?
No comments.
Okay, Doug, you weren't here either, right?
Doug was not at the meeting, but he is now with us.
Okay, all righty. Steve?
And I have no comments.
All righty then. Would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes as written?
I'll make the motion that to accept the minutes as presented.
All righty then. Is there a second?
Burns, second.
Okay, Bob is second. All right, then we'll have a vote. Darcy? Are you?
I can't vote, Dan.
Yeah, right. I know, but I'm asking you anyways. Okay, Sam?
Sam Stryber approved.
Okay, Robert?
Bob Burns approved.
Okay, Doug?
I believe I can't vote either.
All righty. Steve?
Steve approves.
And Dan does as well. So that does that. Thank you very much. Now, as I said, we'll move right on to the applications, but we only have a couple. Sam,
The
our first
sign,
application?
in the sign category, we have 20-0669 Carlton Builders, care of Jesse Carlton. Application to install a ground sign located at 48 Cross Street. And the sign coordinator notes that has noted or sent us a letter that the proposed sign complies with the sign bylaw.
This
Very
is
good.
Darcy.
Thank you, Sam.
This is Darcy, and I'm going to recuse myself on this application.
Okay, Darcy. Thank you. All right, then. Sam, we'll start out with you. Any comments about it, the application?
No, I've got no problems with this. Looks like a very nicely made builder sign. I assume this is because he's building the house or building the project, or is this his headquarters? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess Carlton Builders. This is an upcoming project for us. Knocking down the
Okay, so I assume that was the applicant speaking.
Yes,
The
that was the applicant, and he has filed for a building permit for this property where he will be doing the project.
Oh, it's a
Okay.
project sign. Okay. It's temporary.
Yep. Robert?
Yes, this looks like the same sign that we approved for another project, I guess, last month. So I'm fine with the sign. It looks like a very good sign.
Okay. Doug?
I think it's a great sign. It's very nice. I approve.
Okay. Steve?
Steve approves. I think we've seen this in the past.
I think so too, and I think that he understands that it has to be done, what was it, Sarah? 48 hours or 72 hours after the occupancy permit or something like that?
48 hours after occupancy permit is received, the sign does need to be removed.
Great, excellent, okay. All right then, do we have a motion to accept this application as presented?
This is Doug Ratton. I'll make a motion for application 20069, Carlton Builders, care of Jesse Carlton. Application to install a ground sign located at 48 Cross Street as presented.
Okay, Doug, right?
Doug Ratton, yes.
Yeah, okay. Is there a second?
Second, Sam Stryver.
Okay, Sam Stryver did second the motion. All righty. For any further comments? Okay, then we're on to vote. Sam?
Yes, I approve. I approve.
Okay. Robert?
Approved.
Doug?
Doug Ratton, approve.
Steve?
Steve votes to approve.
All right, and I do as well, Dan Silver. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, Sam, our next application is a little more complicated.
This is addition alteration 20-068. Doug Whitler and Ann Humphrey. Application to renovate the existing outbuilding located at 63 Old Harbor Road. Go, Doug.
Hello. Thank you for reviewing our project. My name is Doug Whitlaw, and I'm a builder in town, and I have a degree in preservation, so it is a passion of mine. My wife and I recently purchased 63 Old Harbor Road, and there's a main house that you see. Sarah's put up the existing plot plan, and there's an outbuilding in the back, which falls under your jurisdiction. So we have, it's a legal two separate apartments right now, and it has been neglected for the last at least 10, possibly more years. So we plan to bring it back, restore it, and keeping the same footprint. keeping the same sign element with a few changes with windows. So this is what you're looking at is the existing plot plan. The building is in the northern corner of it, right there. And if we also, Dave Clark did that, and thank you, Sarah. There is the proposed site plan that was drawn up by Phil Cheney, which shows again, the restored building in the back. We hope to put in a pool and landscape. We're going to restore the privet hedge that runs between our parking lot and the gas station, filling station parking lot. We've already cut it down. I applied for a permit with the building department to gut the existing structure. I've enclosed photographs of before and after. So that is facing east, facing facing Old Harbor Road. So that's before, and then you'll see there's after we stripped it, took the windows out, and you can see that this was once it was actually once a single-story garage. So, and that we found that out after gutting it. If you look, you can see this whole end was open, which is all plywood now. But right at the top of the plywood, there's a band that runs around the building, which you'll see in the other photos. That was a flat tar paper roof or tar asphalt roof that someone then went and framed the second floor on it at some point. So if you look at the lower picture, you can see the angle running the left-hand corner going up. You can see how the building goes at an angle. You can actually see it. So the first floor on the right side leans to the right, and the second floor on the left side leans to the left a little bit. So it's gone through some history in the last 90 years, we estimate. So my wife is here with me also, Ann. So there's license plates that are nailed to one of the rafters that are 1929, and there's four there's 1924 and 1929 and one at 1930, I think. So my best guess is that's about the age of the first floor. So and that is the south facing side right there. And then and you can see the windows that were put in that. And then this side faces the ballpark, which is west. And we hope and then that's the north side. So if you look, I also included elevations which show the north side right there. Yep. So north side is unchanged. We would put the windows in the same spot, which is just the two windows up top. And we'd probably have just shutters in their place, not windows. The east elevation, which you see facing Old Harbor, which is the door, single door, and the windows, is basically unchanged. All we did was swap the door and the window in the lower section. The back, we took the stairs out of the deck just so they can just have the whole deck on the second floor. But we're actually going to bring the deck in a little bit. The elevation shows them right to the corner boards. It would probably be in a foot on either side on that western elevation. And then the south elevation, we'd have the same two windows up top, and then that one would be the most altered with the double set of French doors and the two windows. The roof would be red cedar shingles, taper sawns, 5-inch courses. The sidewall would be white cedar, 5-inch courses, natural, no stain. The windows are going to be Marvin. We're hoping for 6/6. The house had 2/2s. And those are a Marvin simulated divided light with historic sills on them, 4-inch trim, copper head casing. And the shutters and the doors would all be painted a polo blue, which is a Ben Moore color. There are a couple samples that I included. I don't know if you've all gotten the samples, but I have a couple projects that I've used the Polo Blue in town on. One was 85 School Street, and another one was on Shore Road. Yeah, it's like a dark navy blue. There's one under exterior notes. I noticed that there's one little typo. She said it's the rafters are rafter trim would be 1x4, which should actually be a 1x8 with a 1x4 on top of it. And I'm not sure if I'd go with copper gutters or if I would go with the fiberglass fiberglass that looked just like the wood, which we've used in several historic applications. And so in full transparency, we got into this thinking that we would just restore it, then realized that the foundation is crumbling, and we dug next to it and it only goes down 2 feet. So then I was thinking that we would jack up the second floor, put some steel through it, remove the first floor walls, put in a new foundation, and then reframe the first floor walls. But if with cost, I wasn't sure. So I've applied. You'll be seeing me in 2 weeks, us again in 2 weeks, for a demo, because we might end up tearing it down but rebuilding it preferring to tear it down and rebuilding it exactly the way it is drawn. And that falls up to you. So that would probably be with a better result.
And not a lot to save.
And not a lot to save on the second floor. So that's my presentation. And any questions?
All right, very good, thank you. Let's find out what the commission has to say about that. Darcy?
Yeah, Darcy here. Excellent presentation. Thank you for all the details. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I understand what you're going through, whether to demo it or not. If there's nothing to save, I'm okay with that too, but you'll have to come back for that. If there's any landscaping also, I don't know if you've thought about that at all, but that's something that we take a look at. And other than that, I have no problem with the construction at all.
Okay.
So just so you're aware, Darcy, part of this building falls within our jurisdiction, only a portion of it. The rest of the site is residentially zoned, so we don't have any jurisdiction over it.
Okay.
So we really just have the building, and it looks like 3 hydrangeas and a hedge.
Okay. All right. Sounds good to me.
Well, that makes sense, precious then, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I can send you, Dave Clark Wendy did another plan, which actually shows where your jurisdiction line runs through it. And it's literally right through the middle. Gable.
Okay, we lost audio on him. Have we lost audio on him, Sarah?
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right, Sam, you got something to say?
Yes, I do. When I look at the photographs of the east side after demo or before demo, it doesn't matter. The door is on the left.
Yes.
And in the elevation, the east side shows the door on the right. So are you going to switch the door around?
Yes, we were hoping to switch the door around just to make the first floor function a little better.
Okay, I got no problem with that. But I do have a problem with the door, because
Okay.
the door is a 20 light door with no lock rail.
Yeah.
The glass sits down on the panels. I'm sure you mean a lock rail, but I don't think then 20 lights, four by 5 will work in whatever you have left, unless the panels are a lot shorter.
They are a lot shorter. So I had a woman design this, and I can actually send a photo. I can include it at our next meeting, that I was
Okay.
going to reuse an old door that I have.
Oh, all right, cool.
And it only
Okay,
has,
well,
it has a single panel. You're exactly right. It pushes way down, a single panel on the bottom.
right. I mean, she shouldn't have drawn a door like that because it can't exist that way.
I agree.
The glass in the panel would fall out.
Yeah.
So why are the shutters closed on the north elevation?
Because that looks over the rooftop of the filling station restaurant.
Okay,
In fact, right now, aren't they closed?
so you'd want some light in those bedrooms, that light and air. You're not going to shut the shutters
Well,
on.
I'm hoping that I can actually put, on the internal, I'll put a shower against one of them.
Oh, I see. You want to keep the windows as the windows but do stuff inside that would not be windows.
Exactly right. Exactly
Okay.
right.
Gotcha. I think you have the same door problem up on the west elevation. So are they the same door?
No, it would be a more standard door, probably a Simpson,
A
probably a
9-light?
9-light door, exactly. Yep.
Okay. So those are my, otherwise, I guess that's a trellis there.
It is. Yep.
Optional.
And all over both elevations, east and south. But
Yep.
no big deal. I think those will be, it'll be extremely attractive. Maybe the newel posts up on the south elevation. Obviously, we don't have jurisdiction on them, but they're a little big.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yep.
Very good. This is very good.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, you all done, Sam?
Yep.
Okay, Bob?
I like the presentation, and it looks great. I think it'll look great, so I have no questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Doug, any questions?
No, not at all. I'm familiar with the property, and I think it's going to be a huge improvement. So I fully support these changes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
For the encouragement.
Yeah.
All right, Steve?
No, I think it's a nice project, whether it be a renovation or a rebuild. I think it's a nice looking structure. I was going to ask about the rafter trim, which was explained. And the only other question I have is whether or not the Historic Commission has to get involved in this because it's more than 75 years old.
No, we have jurisdiction. Well, wait a minute. Maybe for the back half or something like that.
No, Michelle said that you guys superseded her on this.
There you go.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
that's the only other thing that I just want to make sure that everything was copacetic.
Understood. This is Dan speaking again. A comment and some questions. We do have jurisdiction and we supersede them on this particular project. However, if it comes to demolition, we may want them to do a walkthrough with us, which will do a site visit and a walkthrough, depending
Dan,
on what.
I'm not certain that, well, due to COVID, whether we can do a site visit. It may be more of just individual visits, but we're not going to
Right.
be doing the big group visit like we normally do.
Right. Okay. Understood.
So CHC does have jurisdiction over the main house because that is also historic. But
Right.
HVDC has jurisdiction over the outbuilding.
Right. Understood. Okay. My other comment is you have historic stills on there, but what size is the window trim? Is that listed?
1 by 4.
Okay. Alrighty. And also, we didn't have a cut sheet for any lighting, exterior lighting?
Oh, yep. Yeah, I mean, I show it on those elevations. I show 2 up on the deck, 2 by the back door, and I don't have one at the French doors. I would actually, I hadn't even really picked up on that. I would probably knock those down to just 1 light at each door. And then maybe 1 for the French door, whether it's over it or in that vicinity. I'm open to anything on that.
And they'll be historic.
I understand again, but we do need cut sheets on the lighting that you decide to use.
Okay, all right.
So you'd have to bring that in.
Yep.
Outside, yeah, it looks pretty good. What type of railing do you propose to use on the deck, and what type of decking?
I'd like to use iPay decking, a 1 by 6 on that.
Yep.
And then a rail, I would probably use one of these synthetic rails. I think the Nantucket rail, something like that in there. And I agree with Sam. I think the posts should be shrunken down. I hadn't really picked up on that either. They look a little large up there. But just standard rail, standard baluster. And again, that deck's going to shrink in as you look at it on that elevation. It's going to come in.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. That's an excellent move. Yep. All righty then. The only thing I'd like to see is if this is, someone makes a motion that it be conditioned that the gentleman come back with a cut sheet for the lighting and for the rail system. That would be it.
And the door.
Door. Yep.
All right. Is there a motion?
Doug Grattan, I'll make a motion for additions and alterations, application 20-068, Doug Whitler and Ann Humphrey, application to renovate the existing outbuilding located at 63 Old Harbor Road, with a condition review, cut sheets for the lights, the railing, and the door as presented.
Excellent. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Sam Stryber.
All right. Sam has seconded. Okay. So, any further comments from anybody want to speak up on the commission? All right, then we'll go for a vote. Darcy?
In favor.
Okay. Sam?
Sam Stryber in favor.
Bob?
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug?
Doug Grattan in favor.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
All right. And I am as well, Dan Silver. Very good. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's going to look very nice.
Thank you.
All right. Sam?
Additions, alterations, 20-071, Pate's Restaurant, care of Dan McLaughlin. Application to alter the facade on the existing structure located at 1260 Main Street.
Do we have an applicant?
Got to turn on his sound. There he is.
Hi, Dan. If you press *6 on your phone, that will unmute you. *6.
Oh,
You have me?
yeah.
Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. I'm using my phone to call in, and I'm also watching the video on my phone, so a little confusing for me. I apologize. So, folks, commissioners, my name's Dan McLaughlin. I'm one of the new owners of Pate's. We've done some extensive work inside. We have a building permit to do some more things inside, and we've also done some work on the outside, some of which through a previous permit that you folks issued on an administrative basis. And now we're coming to you to, I guess, retroactively ask permission for the blue awning that we put up. It was a kind of an ugly brown color and it was deteriorated. So we replaced that, which I didn't realize we needed permission to do, to be honest with you. And we would like to whitewash the existing brick in the front of the building. We've cleaned up the shingles. We've changed the colors of the shutters to match our new sign. And we've done added some other landscaping features inside, which we think is a dramatic improvement to the building. And we'd like to paint in a marine blue, which is consistent with the building sign and the shutters on this new whitewash brick, a sign for, there's two iterations in front of you, as you can see. I think we like the lower one better, that has Pates on the west side and Food and Drink on the east side, just for symmetrical purposes.
All right, let's find out what the commission thinks about it. Darcy?
Microphone, Darcy.
Okay. Darcy here. Thank you. I think you've done a great job with the building. I think the awning looks great. I'm not sure about the lettering. The whitewash is okay, and I think the lettering will stand out. Just not sure about the size of it. Let's see, we have some dimensions, right, somewhere, how big the lettering is? How tall are those letters, the top and the bottom?
I thought that Sinorama had put that together, but I don't have the actual dimensions, but it's, I would say it's to scale on the rendering.
So the one on the top, Darcy,
Yeah.
the original sign that we saw was 30 inches tall and 84 inches wide, but that included the Pates and the Food and Drink.
Okay. And the scale on the bottom?
That I do not know.
Okay. It's hard to tell what it is. I don't know.
They did not provide us with a new detail of the size of what the alternatives would be.
Okay. I think either one is okay, but I think if the bottom were the choice, that maybe it should be scaled down a little bit. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Okay. That's it.
Okay, Sam?
Yeah, I completely agree with Darcy. But I'm for the lower one. But I would like, it looks like it's the same length as the Pate sign above. So it's 84 inches long. I mean, this is a huge sign. The Food and Drink is probably less. It's more like 60. But I think if Pates was the same size letter as Food and Drink was reduced a little bit, it would be a little quieter on the, this is like when people put caps in an email. It looks like shouting. This is
Okay.
shouting. That's just my feeling. Now I'm a little upset about the awning because I think the awning is too small for the building. As a sense of proportion. I can hardly see it over there, but it looks like a very squashed half circle, and then little spindly posts. I suppose since it's existing and it carries through the colors and everything and kind of fits, although it looks like it's smashed, smashed by the triangle that's up above it. I would much rather see something a little more befitting the entrance, but for this rather fine restaurant, you know. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. So I'm not saying that you have to replace it, but I do think when it blows away in some storm, please do it right.
We would actually like to, at some later date, do something more in keeping with the restaurant for an entrance.
Okay.
But it's just a more complicated issue right now than we can get into, and it involves handicap access. You know, the ramp that's in front and the metal railing is not ideal and not a good look. So we're giving the whole front entryway some real thought, and we'll be back to you at a later date with something that we think will, you know, just be more in keeping with the caliber of the restaurant.
Well, that's encouraging to hear that. I think you're absolutely right. Dealing with a handicap entrance at the same time of having a grand entrance can be somewhat complicated and hard to work out with all the requirements of the pitch and the railing specifications. So I understand all
Exactly.
Okay, Sam?
Yep.
Okay, Bob?
Yeah, Dan, I think you've done an outstanding job on the renovation on the restaurant, plantings and everything. I'm fine with the whitewash on the brick. However, a little concerned with why you wouldn't use a traditional signs on that you know, on the face of the whitewash. I drove around town today, the historic business district, and I looked at all the buildings. This would be the first one that we may approve that is doing it this way, painting on the brick. So to me, I have trouble getting my arms around it, but if the rest of the commission is okay, then I'd be okay with it.
I think we didn't go with another sign because we wanted to have a little kind of simplicity to it. And it was something our designer brought up, that, you know, the painting would look, you know, nice and clean and simple, which is what we're going for a little bit.
Yeah, I understand. It may look too simple. It may be something that I would see in other towns, but that's my opinion. But overall, I think you've done an outstanding job on the restaurant.
Thank you.
Okay, Doug?
Okay, yes, so I agree. I'm happy with the awning the way it is. And, you know, and if there was a chance to make it larger in the future, I would certainly support that. Again, I agree with the whitewash. I think it looks nice. All the renovations, everything looks really, you know, really look good, really taking the place to the next level. And I'm happy with the lower sign, the plates on the left, the food drink on the right. So I would support it as presented.
Steve?
Yes, I'm more in favor of the sign that's the lower sign, because I think that follows one of the suggestions that came out of last meeting, where the name of the restaurant and food and drink were sort of balanced on either side of that window. And the awning is a good idea, I think. But I'm wondering if the applicant would consider also whitewashing the brick that's near the front door or near the entry, because there's a lot of colors going. You have the roof color, you've got a siding color, you've got whitewash, you've got shutters, you've got bricks. You know, I think maybe if all the brick was whitewashed, it may reduce. It might look a little bit better, but I know that's not part of this application, but is, you know, just personal.
We
But
would certainly consider that.
But I think the sign, the way that the lower proposal is done is better. Maybe just scale it down a little bit. I think Sam was sort of referencing that. Maybe just scale it down a little bit. But I think it's a good improvement.
Okay, Steve. All right, now it's my turn. I'll tell you what, I'm having a hard time with this. I don't mind the whitewash brick at all. I don't mind the trim color is good. The roof color is all right. The awning is fine. Both versions seem to indicate to me a sign that is about 8 feet tall and 24 feet wide. Using the whole facade of the building as a sign just makes it huge. And not having another one in town, I'm very uncomfortable with it. However, there seems to be favorable comments here, so maybe I'm just out of line. That restaurant's been in business for well over 40 years with just a sign out on the road, a very reasonable sign. I don't know if we need all this. Sam's right, the whole thing is shouting. I just think it's way too big, too pronounced, too dark color against all that white facade. But anyways, the other thing I think that might be hurting this is that if you look at the illustrations you gave us for the 2 iterations of the sign, they do look overly large and very bold. However, if you look at that same section of building in the street photo, it looks a lot smaller, so it might be all right. Those each side of that window looks much smaller than it does in the presentation. So it might be that those signs will be all right after all. So anyways, reluctantly, I'd probably go along with it. And it seems like the majority of the people will like the lower rendition. So I'll go along with that as well.
Dan, can I say something?
Certainly.
This is a really classy restaurant. And I was wondering if you would consider possibly changing the font a little bit. Instead of being so stark, make it a little bit smaller and perhaps put a little more finesse to it, I guess I want to say, on the page part.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely make it smaller, and believe me, it's not our intention, to shout anything. It's one of the strange things about the signage that we have at this property is that whether or not you're coming from the east or the west, there is a telephone pole in each direction that is dead smack in the middle of our sign for most of your ride, by the property. So it's, but we want everything to be to scale. If we want everybody to walk by and say, "Wow, that looks great," not where we're trying to shout that we're here. The only thing I would say about the font is that we do have like a branding package that we put together, and this font is part of that logo. So I'd have to maybe think twice before changing the actual font, but we're happy to work with you on the size of everything and whatnot.
Okay, I think sizing it down a little bit would probably improve it 100%.
Okay.
Okay, Darcy, this is Dan Silver again. I agree with Darcy. I think if it looked more like a sign than, lettering on a wall, it would be 100% better. So, Sarah, what size sign would be allowed on that? 10% of the building facade?
It is 10% of the building face. So you would look at the entire stretch of that building, which allows for a relatively large sign. But I would ask for a cut sheet that does give us a rendering that gives us the size of whichever sign is actually approved, so we can issue a sign permit if this is approved. And I was going to say, if the board wants me to, I can pull up the photo of the ground sign that was approved back in July, just for context.
Yeah, I want to see if the
Sure.
logo, if the old logo is still on there.
Okay, give me one moment.
Sure.
This is Doug Grant. I just want to chime in for a second if I could. Looking at the front of the whole facade of the whole building, I think we're getting a little distorted because what's whitewashed where the cake is going to go and the food and drink, I think it's going to look a lot smaller from the street than what we're perceiving just because of the way it's presented. So that's just my 2 cents.
Okay, can you see the ground sign that
Yes,
was
we can,
approved in
Sarah.
July?
Thank you
Okay.
very much. That's very, very helpful. Yep, very good.
And can I,
Yeah, Sam? Yep.
yeah, I think everybody's comments are incredibly accurate and telling. Obviously, the whitewashing of the front entrance, I think, would simplify the clash of materials and get the brick out of the palette. And having the would have been a nice idea if we could more like the Village Market look in the lettering. But it's part of their logo, and I'm okay with that. But I would like them to sort of take it down 80%, 85%, maybe, and get a little more comfortable spacing and positioning. And as far as the awning goes, I'm okay with that as long as they're continuing to look at it and work out the entrance with all the handicap stuff and come back to us with that. So I really think their efforts, and this would be a great improvement in the look.
Okay, Sam, very good. Yeah, what I would like to see is for them to come back with some sort of rendition that would show the size of a sign that would be legal on there, which would be 10% of the facade, and compare it to what they're proposing now.
Or Mr. Chairman, would it be helpful if I had the sign company do, because I think what we're coming down to here is we're looking at a close-up of this sign, and really the probably the more applicable metric is what the sign's going to look like from the street. Would it be helpful if I had them do a rendering showing you that scale?
I think what I'm looking for is a scale of what a legal sign, what you're actually allowed on that facade that you have would be.
Okay.
Because I think it's a lot bigger than what you're allowed. Sarah, am I incorrect?
I believe so, but I believe what the applicant is saying is if he was to have the whole facade shown as rendering for the sign, it might give the commission a better idea of the scale in proportion to the rest of the building.
I understand, yeah. Okay. Well, again, a normal sign application would be a sign that is attached to a building, and we would have some idea of what, the proportions are. Right now, it looks like as if he's taking over. It looks as if he is taking over the entire side of the building with signage. Because he has a sign on both sides of the windows.
Yes, on one portion of the building. So the bump out portion right here is where the signs would be positioned.
All right, well, let's hear about everybody. Let's see if we want to get a motion. Sam, do you want to get a motion to what?
The motion should be for them to continue to the next hearing. We have to get a request from them to do that, or to a hearing that is more that'll allow them to make all the judgments that they need to do, and come back, and we would consider the reduction of the size of the letters.
Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable. Darcy?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think if we could get a rendition of the whole facade with the size of the sign that you have now, and then a smaller version of it, so that we could see, you know, if the size that you want would be acceptable. How's that? I think it's going to be okay. What you had said before, Dan, to look at the whole facade instead of just that little piece, I think it might be
Right.
okay. But
Yeah, when I look at that picture that we submitted from across the street, it's really, I don't think it's going to be as overwhelming as it looks like in the actual rendering, the close-up rendering. But you know, why don't I come back with what the chair recommended, which is to show what we're allowed for coverage under the I guess it would be the bylaw, and also with the view from the street showing the whole front of the building, and also, you know, in the size that we have it now and in a smaller size, and with those dimensions as well.
That would be great.
I think that would be an excellent idea, because I agree with you that I think your photograph of the building from across the street, that wall looks a lot smaller.
Yeah, and the other thing we considered is, look, you know, thank gosh we're busy all the time now, but you know, there's usually going to be a couple of cars parked in front of that sign. So
yeah. Well, would you like to request a continuance for our next meeting, Sarah? When will that be?
So we do have two separate applications we're looking at. The continued hearing, which is 20063, is for the wall sign. We also have the separate application for the alteration to the facade, which includes the whitewashing, the awning, those types of things. They are separate applications. So if the board chose to, they could proceed with the approval for the whitewashing and the awning, and the sign could be continued to our next meeting, which is September 16th.
I was just going to suggest that, because he's got 4 out of 5. He's so close, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so I think we ought to do that.
Could I ask for a little clarification? I think it was a good idea that one of the commissioners brought up about painting the brick on either side of the front entrance white to match the whitewashing in the middle. Now, I haven't officially asked for that, but how would that be handled, Sarah?
During the motion, the member making the motion could simply say that the application has been modified to include whitewashing of all of the brick rather than just the area where the signage is. So it would be the brick by the front door and where the sign will eventually go.
Great.
So moved.
We need a motion.
Dan, this is
Yeah, he did.
Bob.
All right, Doug?
Dan, this is Bob.
Yeah, Bob, brother.
Is it possible, to do the whitewash the next meeting, but then have the sign company cut out the letters, the size of the letters that we would like or you would like, and just put them on the wall, on the whitewash wall, so we can take a look at it?
Sure, do a mock-up. I'll have them just do a mock-up. And
yeah, it's hard for me to look at these pictures and say, we've had a lot of comments on the point size and how's it going to look, but if they can do a mock-up, paint the walls, and then put the letters up, and so we can take a look at it.
I don't see why they can't. So why don't I have that done, and I'll let Sarah know when it's done, and you can all take a ride by and take a look at it.
Okay.
Okay, then that means that we're going to continue both applications. Is that correct, Sarah?
No, you would. So if you want it to be, you want to see it with the whitewash, you would move to approve as amended the application 20-071 to allow for the whitewashing, the awning, and the whitewashing on either side of the front entry.
All right.
And you would continue
Alrighty.
the sign application so that,
Yeah.
which is 063, so that way the mock-up could be done and the commission could view the size.
All right. So I think that was still, I think we have a motion out there that needed to be second, and that motion was to do exactly what you just said, right? To allow them to wash.
I believe so. I believe Sam said so moved.
I'll make a second. Doug Grattan will second the motion.
All right, so we have a motion and we have a second. So ready to vote, folks, or is there any further discussion amongst commission members at all? Okay, Darcy?
Darcy Sequin approved.
Okay, Sam?
Sam Strivert approves.
All right, Bob?
Bob approves.
Doug?
Doug Grattan approves.
Steve?
And Steve DeBoer approves.
And I approve as well. Very good. So we got that one out of the way. Now we have the 63, right? 063?
That is correct.
that's
That's
the
the
one-
sign application.
Okay, and this is where we're going to ask the applicant if he would request a continuance for our next meeting, right?
Right.
Yes, it has to be to a date specific, which would be September 16th.
Right, September 16th at 4:30. So, sir, do you request a continuance for this application, 20-063, to our September 16th meeting at 4:30?
Yes, I do.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion to accept the request?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Darcy
Second,
Sequin.
Sam.
Okay,
That's
Darcy,
right.
okay. Yeah, we got Doug and Darcy. All right. Let's see, Darcy, are you in favor?
Yes, in favor. Darcy.
Okay, Sam?
Sam in favor, yes.
Okay, Bob?
In favor.
Okay, Doug?
Doug Grattan in favor.
Steve?
Steve's in favor.
And Dan Silver is in favor. Very good, excellent. Thank you very much. And we'll look forward to seeing you.
Okay, thank you, commissioners.
Doing a good job over there. Yep,
Thanks very much.
you bet. All right, Sam,
Yes. There's
we
nothing
have
else.
what?
We have no other business. Oh, administrative approval and exemption. 20-7
Ratification.
20-70, Stephanie Hamilton, care of Southern New England Windows, application for administrative approval to replace the entry door on the dwelling located at 405 Orleans Road, Unit B.
All righty. Sarah, you want to tell us a little about this?
This application was for the replacement of a steel entry door, which if you try to look, you can sort of see a doorway up in here. It's in this vestibule.
Yeah.
So that's why they took the interior picture, but they replaced it in like kind, or will be replacing it in like kind with this door. And Darcy and Bob, I believe, took a look at this
Okay.
and did approve it.
All righty. Sam, any questions?
No questions on my part.
Okay, Doug,
No questions.
Steve?
No questions.
Nor do I, Dan Silver. All righty, so we'll go for a vote. Darcy?
You want a motion?
A motion, I'm sorry, yep. You're right. Got ahead of myself.
I move to accept the administrative approval for 20-070 Stephanie Hamilton, care of Southern New England Windows, application for administrative approval to replace the entry door on the dwelling located at 405 Orleans Road, Unit B.
Doug Grattan.
Excellent, thank you. And who was that, Doug seconding it?
Doug seconded.
Did you?
Yes, I did. Doug Grattan.
Okay, all righty. All right, now the vote. Darcy?
Darcy Sequin in favor.
Okay, Sam?
Sam Stryver in favor.
All right. Robert?
Bob Burns in favor.
All right, Doug?
Doug Grattan in favor.
Okay, Steve?
And Steve's in favor.
And Dan Silver's in favor. Very good. Excellent, folks. Good job today. All right, so I guess that does it, right, Sam?
That does it. That's the end of the thing, and I move that we adjourn.
We're ready. Is there a second?
Doug Grattan will second.
All right, so we have a second. Darcy?
In favor.
Sam?
In favor, Sam, in favor.
Bob?
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug?
Doug Grattan in favor.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Dan Silver is in favor. Thank you so much. Thank
We
you
are
folks for your
officially
service.
adjourned at 5:44 PM.